Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we will be learning ETL Bots Designer tool. I hope this session will be helpful for you. Let's start the video. So to open BODS Designer, you need to find the exe file, the designer exe file. For my case, it is present in this location. It can be different for your system, but you need to find this location and just launch this. So once I launch this, I'll get this screen that SAP Business Object Data Service repository login, and I need some data to log in into Bots Designer. That data would be, you should know the server name, you should know the repository database type, then the repository connection, repository user and password. Repository is nothing but a database which will contain all the code, whatever the coding we have done in BODS Designer, that will be stored in the database, as well as the metadata will be stored in this database. So that database is called the repository, which will contain all the code as well as your metadata. So let's log in to SAP Business Object Data Services repository login, and once I click OK, our interface will open, and here you can see what is the version of data service is installed in your system. So once you log in with the proper detail, the Business Object Data Services Designer will open, and it will look like this, right? So we have different areas. This is project area, where whatever the current job you will be working, that will be visible here, and this is your repository area, says local object library. So all the objects which are present will be shown here in this local object library, and in this local object library we have different tabs. So let's go one by one. So in this local object library we have different objects. The first one is the project. We have different projects. Projects is nothing but the different folder. In these different folders we have number of jobs. One folder can have more than one job, and the normal practice is we put all the jobs, related jobs, may be related to one project, in one particular folder, and we name it accordingly. Currently I am using some random names for the project folders, because it is just for the practice. Then we have a job. Here in the batch job you will have all the batch jobs, whether it is present in any folder or not, those jobs will be visible here. Then the second is real-time jobs. All the real-time jobs which are present in bots will be visible in this real-time jobs. Then we have workflow and data flow, that I'll cover in some time. Then we have transformation. So transformation is the core, or you can say heart of ETL tool, that is Bots ETL tool, because all the transformations we will be doing using these objects. So we have three categories like data integrator, data quality and platform. So in data integrator we have some objects which will be used for transformation. Similarly we have data quality. Those objects will be used for cleansing of the data, and then we have platform data. So these transformation is also used for different applying. So these transformation is also used to put a different logic in the bot job based on the requirement. So we have case transformation, map transformation, merge, and then we have a query transform, which is used 90% of the time in BODS. Then we have row generation. If you have a direct SQL query which you want to fire, you can use this SQL object and put your query in that SQL object, and that query will be triggered into the database directly. Then we have a validation transformation. It will validate the incoming data based on the rules which we will provide. Row generation will generate the row for the incoming rows. Merge will perform the merging. Let's say we have three inputs, three different sources, and they are generating the data in same fashion, I would say in same schema. So all three sources are generating data having same column names. So what we can do is we can use merge transform to merge these three source data to get one single output. Similarly we have case transformation that will be like we have input data, and based on some condition we can have different cases like case 1, case 2, case 3 or case 4, so on. N number of cases you can have based on n number of different conditions. So based on the condition you can segregate the data into different outputs. That is case transformation. Then map transformation is something which use for the operations, like whatever the input data is, we can normally by default the input data is in the mode of insert or update. But let's say if I want to delete some data, if I want to update some data and I want to insert some data in the same input set, then what I can do is I can use this map operation. In this map operation I can define which type of data I want to insert, which type of data I want to delete, and which type of data I want to just update. So based on these conditions which you can put in map operation, input data will be either inserted or deleted or updated in the target. So this is your local object library, and in this local object next object is data stores. So the data stores are nothing but the connection details for your source system and for the target system. So whenever we try to access any database or any application system or any other system, we need to create connections for that. So those connections will be created here. So let me try to create one new connection for us. So when we click on new, the data create new data stores, this window will open, and in this we can provide the name of the data store. So normally what convention we follow is DS is for data store. Then we can give some relevant name like which database it is trying to connect or which system it is trying to connect. So let's say system 1 it is trying to connect, and this database may be Oracle type. So let's say Oracle. So it will be easier for me to understand that this particular connection contains the detail for the system 1 and this database is of Oracle database type. So here we have second option is database type. So it could be a database, or you can directly connect to some SAP applications, SAP BW, or if you want source or target that we can define here. If you have a relational database, obviously you will choose this database, but we have some other options. Though normally most of the time we use database, sometimes we use application database, but other type of connections are also available in the bots which can be used if needed. So let me connect, let me try database only this time. Now database type, so you have these many database type which bot supports. So it supports Oracle database. You can have any ODBC connection. You can directly connect to Netezza, SQL, Teradata, Sybase database, different database you can connect here. Microsoft SQL Server is also present. So based on your source or your target, you choose the database. So let me just connect to Teradata. Okay, Teradata is getting connected using ODBC. So once you give all the details and you try connecting the database, so you just click on apply and then see if it is working fine, then no error will pop up. If something is wrong, let me give some random password and then try to apply, it will give me some error. It will give some error. So you need to give correct details to connect or to log in. So let me give the correct detail here. Click apply. It is working fine. So just click OK, and my sys database is ready. Then we have formats like file formats. We can have different file formats here. Maybe your source or maybe your target could be a file. So all those file formats, flat file formats, XML, Excel workbook, those file formats you can choose from here as a source or a target, and then you can use it. Then we have some custom functions. Finally, we have this custom functions. So this custom function is nothing but the functions which we can build by our own. If the provided objects in bots are not fulfilling our requirement, what we can do is we can create our own functions using this custom function, and that can be used anytime. So let's create a simple job which will read some data from a file and which will load that data into another file. So first of all, I need to create a job. So first of all, I need to create a folder, or I can choose a existing folder. For let's say this time I want to create new job in new folder. So I'll just click here and I'll type the name. Let's say ABC5 is the folder name. You can create any folder, and then here I can create a job by clicking a new batch job. So I need to give the job name. So whatever the conventions you are following or your organization is following, you need to follow that. For the simplicity, what I am following is I am saying job, then I can have FF, it's for flat file, then I can have product, let's say product data, because this job will extract product data and load the product data into another flat file. So I'll writing the name like this, job ff prod ff. So job will extract file from job will read the data from file, that will be the product data, and will create a new file. Anyway, so once I click on this area, you can see this is the project area, the third area which I was talking about. So this is the project area, and see the job ff prod underscore ff is there, and you are inside this job, but nothing is there inside this job. So we have different objects here, we have different objects, and we have transformations. All the transformations are here. So all the transformations are here, and all the other objects are here, which we can use to create the job. So first of all, in each and every code we write, whatever it is, whether it is Python or any other language or any other drag and drop kind of system where we need to define or we need to write a code. What we do is first we put try and catch. So let's put try and catch. This is for error handling. So how you put it? Just click on the object and then click in the project area. So you have a try, and you can name this also. So let me name this try for prod. You can give some convenient name according to you, and then I can have at the end I can have catch. Between these I will write my code, and then the job will run. So this is the job. When I click on this plus button, see all the objects present in the jobs will be visible here. So if I double click on catch, so you have some predefined exceptions. So based on these, the job will fail and catch these exceptions. And once the job processing comes to this catch block, whatever you put here, this is the area where you put the logic, whatever the operations you want to perform once the pointer or once the job execution is in the catch block. So you can define those things here. As of now I am putting it blank. So the hierarchy is bit simple. So in bots there is a hierarchy, like in a single job we can have multiple workflow. In a single workflow we can have multiple data flow, but inside data flow we cannot have any other data flow, because data flow is the heart of this bots, I would say again, because all the logics will be implemented in this data flow, right? But the workflow is nothing but the logical connections, what you want to perform when. So let's put a workflow here. Okay, you can name anything. So let me call it WF, which stands for workflow, and then will I say prod data. I'll connect it so that the execution will run sequentially. So the pointer will come to try block, then it will go to this workflow, and then once the workflow is completed, it will go to catch, or if it fails somewhere, then also it will go to catch. So let's come to this workflow. So inside this workflow again, it will look same like we are inside this job. because all the objects which we can use is same. So inside workflow we can use workflow. Let me put a workflow. Inside workflow I can use a data flow. Okay. Inside this workflow I can use this data flow again, right? So this is how is the hierarchy is. So why we are using workflow? If I want, I can use directly this data flow, or what you can do is you can directly use data flow here also. There's no contention. But let's say if I want to execute two data flow in parallel, if I cannot do this like this, the connection should be at the job level, the connection should be in the series kind of, right? So it should be series, but if I want to run these two data flow in parallel, I cannot do at the job level. What I can do is in this workflow level I can put these two data flows. Okay, so data flow 123 and data flow 129 will run parallelly, and once both completed successfully, the execution will come here. If I want these two data flows to work in series, I mean to execute these two data flow in series, I can join these, then first 1 2 3 will run, then 1 to 9 will run. So this is how we can define the hierarchy, and that is why we use workflow to separate the processes. Like what I can do is I can use two workflow. In first workflow I'll extract the data. Inside that obviously there will be a data flow which will be actually extracting the data. I can have another workflow here which will be loading the data. But in a single workflow also you can have more than one data flow, or you can have a single data flow. So what we will do is we will implement all the extraction, then transformation, and then loading all in one data flow only. Okay. So let me come again to this job level. So we have a few more objects here. Are scripts. So scripts are nothing but let's say if you want to define some variables, or you want to print something in the so that you can check the logs, or any command prompt commands you want to run. So how you can do that? You can use this script, and inside this script you can write any command. So it has some syntax. Okay, those syntax do not need to be remembered. Just you can Google it and you will find. So let me write first job, and there's a button called validate current. So it will validate if the syntax is correct or not. So it's correct. So let me save this. This is the save button. I'll save this. It will ask me whatever I have created, it will save. Let me go back, and I have created a script, and inside this script I am writing a print statement. So that will be printed in the execution. It will be printed. But I can define more than one variable, and I can define the value for those variables also. So first of all we need to define the variables. So how can you define the variables? Inside tool you just go to variables, and then you have these variables. So this global, we have two variables, local and global. So global variables are valid for the full job. Wherever you go in this job, inside this job, this global variable will be applicable, but the local variable is for that local object only. It can be at database, it can be at workflow level, or it can be at script level, or it can be at data flow level. But if I define a variable, let's say normally the variables are defined with the dollar, so I would say var1. I would say a variable, the variable name is this, and it can have different type, like it can be date, time, decimal, double, int, whatever. So let me put this as a varchar, and varchar 50. Okay, this one. So let me save it again, come back at the job level, let me click this job. Now what I can do is I can define this here. So when I'll say this variable will be visible to me, and I can define its value as demo. Let's define this. Now I can print this variable. How can I print? To print it is very simple. Just put the variable here. That's it, and you can validate. So first it will print first job, then it will print this variable value. So what I can do is I can put some string also here. So I can say value of variable is, let's put pipe sign. Pipe is used for the concatenation. So this string will be concatenated with the variable. Let's save this, and we will not have any processing as of now, and let's run this job. See what happens if we run this job. So before running the job, come to a job level, and then this button will be enabled, that validate all. So it will validate everything whatever we have created, and if there is no error, only warning, that is fine, but no error, then we are okay, we are ready to run the job. So let me run this job. So how we run this job is just right click on this job, and we have some options like execute, debug. We can remove or we can rename the job, or we can see the property. So execute will normally execute the job. Start debugging will also execute the job, but the developers use this mode, debug mode, to identify if there is any issue, how the data is flowing and all. But as of now there is no data. We are just executing for the sake of simplicity, to see if the scripts are printing well or not. So let's execute it, and when you execute this job, you will get different options, which are also, you can see these options when you will run the job from the bots console also, right? So those options, similar options will be present here. You can, if you have some system configuration, you can use those system configuration. Whatever the server, which server you want to run the job, you can use that server name here. And then we have other options. If you want to check all the traces you want to print in the log, then you can just click the value, and you can just give it a yes. Yeah, so it will print that thing. All the global variables you can define here if you want to give some runtime variable. If there is any substitution parameter, you can define, though we do not have any substitution parameter in this simple job. So I'll just click on OK, and it will start running the job. So the job is started. So we should read the logs from the first line. So in the first line, it says it is reading the job. So this job name is job underscore ff underscore prod underscore ff is for us, but for the machine language it is the hexadecimal code. So this is the hexadecimal code for this job name. So computer is reading this job from the server, and then the current job name it is printing again, and it is also printing the location where our exe file is there. Then it is starting the job, then start processing, optimizing, then here it is printing. So in the logs you can see there are different types. So the type job means it is an internal process where the job itself is putting these logs, but whatever is with print, which we are putting in the logs, like we have printed first job, then the value of variable is demo, which we have printed. So our job is working fine. Now let's create a simple data flow inside this workflow, and this data flow, let me give some name, is df demo. This name is already exists, so it will give a warning. So I can have df demo underscore 4. Okay, now inside this data flow, see the workflow is disabled. So inside this data flow you cannot create a workflow, but other entities, these transformations and others are now enabled, and few other objects are disabled. So you cannot use these objects, but you can use now the data flow. Data flow is itself a data flow, but you can use this query transform. You can create some template table. Template table is nothing but the internal or staging tables which can be created inside the bots or inside a database. So mainly we are using here the query transformations. Anyway, so this is the area where we are putting our logic. So first of all, I'll create a flat file. Okay, and that flat file name is, let's say, test demo 123, and this flat file will have a field 1. Its name will be product code, let's say product code, and that will be varchar 100, and different values I can assign, like what should be the column delimiter. It is comma. I can choose some other delimiters also, but let it be comma like this. And then the new line character, row within the text string should be character, and what would be the style, what would be the header. You can choose everything. Skip the row header. When you are reading this file, you can have this option like skip the row header, so it will skip it. When you are writing the row, when you are writing the data, you say write the row header or not. So let's put it as of now, let's keep it no, but you can have yes or no according to your requirement. And then we have some error handling in these file formats also. So these are self-explanatory, like log the data conversion. If there is any conversion warning, that the data will be loaded into some error file, right? Or different types of error which you can handle here using this error handling mechanism. So let me save this test demo 123 and close. So that the test demo 123 file is here in the file format itself. So let's drag and drop here and make it source, or you can make it target. So I'm making it source. Now I know there's nothing inside this, but for the time being, let's keep this. Then we have transformations. We have different transformations. So let me use some simple transformation, query transformation. You can use it from here, or you can use it from here. So I'll read all the data from this file. That data will go to this query where I'll do some transformation, and then I will load this data into some other file format. Okay. So I can use some other file format which I can create by using new, or I can use the same file format. And make it target. Let's make it target. So same file format, or you can have some different file formats, whatever. But inside this we will give the different path. Like this is the source file, so the root directory and file name will be different. So let me give some root directory path name and the file name, and then I can run this job. Let me give the file name as input.txt. Okay, and I'll give the root directory. Let's give this path, and inside this download, let's create one text file which will be named as input, and this input will have, let's say, 1 2 3 4. Then we have 3 4 5 6 7. Then you can have ABC. Then you can have PQRS. So this is my file, and these are the product codes which I am saving. So let me put first as prod code. This is the column name. Anyway, this is the file. So I have given the file name. So let me save this, and let's see what happens. See, this lens option is available now. So if I click, this is reading the file. So reading the file. These are the numbers, that's why they are here. These are the string, that's why it is here. But it is reading the file. Anyway, similarly, I can give the output file. So I can give some different location, or I can give the same location but different file name. So let me give the same location, but let's say the output file, output.txt. Let me save this. Now output.txt is not there, so it will not read anything. So what we will do is we'll go to job level again. Let's close everything from here, and then again open the job from here, and let's validate. So there is one error, and that's why it is showing here. So you can validate the job from here, and you can see there's an error, and that's why that error comes here. So you just double click on this, and it will go to that query transformation where this mapping is not there. So what you do is you just map it by dragging and dropping. So that mapping will automatically be done when you will just drag and drop it. So in this mapping section, so where I am, let me go again at the job level. Let's go to this workflow. Inside this data flow, we have a query, and in this query, this is the input side, this is the output side. So there should be a relation between input and output, otherwise output will not know that what the data I need to load. So I have directly mapped it. There is no transformation or there is no conditions I have put here right now. See, this mapping shows query dot prod underscore code is equal to test demo 123, that is input side, dot product code. So input schema dot product code is equal to output schema dot product code as of now. So inside from you can see I just I'm giving the schema name. It will automatically come in though. So you have all the other options here, like select, outer join, inner join, where query, group by, order by. So if you are selecting a lot of data at the input side and you want to do some transformation or some filtering using where condition, or you can use some other different configuration table, and you can use joins to filter out the data, you can do that. As of now I am not doing anything, and let's now validate this job. It's at the job level. I am coming to the job level and validate. Now I do not have any errors, only warning, so I am good to run this job. So let's execute this job. I click on execute. It will ask for save, so you just click on yes to save. It will ask for the server, click OK. The logs will be printed here, and once it will fetch the data will be loaded into target system. So in the last it will say the job completed successfully, and if there is a data flow, so it will say first it will printing whatever the statements we are trying to print, then the workflow has started. After workflow, inside this workflow we have a data flow. The data flow has started and it is reading the data from data flow, then data flow completed, workflow completed, and job is completed. So this is the log. Then we have the second option is monitor, the similar to which we have in console, bots console also. So here you can see in this query and output.txt. So it is reading 5 records. This you can arrange. Okay, you can arrange by clicking here. So it is not like the first thing will come up first. It will come by naming convention. So you can always modify this. Anyway, so first the query transforms, 5 records were passed, and those 5 records were loaded into output.txt. It says like this. So let's open this output.txt. So I'll go to downloads, and in the download, this output file has been created. In this output file, all the data has been loaded as it is with the name of the column also. Now let's do something. Let's do some manipulation or some filtering. So first of all, let's do a filtering. I'll say if inside in this where code, where clause, I'll say the product code should be equal to what was our product code in input. So let's give the product code is this. Okay. So I am giving only a condition in this where clause where only this product will flow, where the product code is equal to 25647. Let's save this. And let's go to the job level, execute it. Once I'll execute this job and I'll show you the output file again. The job completed successfully. Let me show, this is the input file. Let me close it and let me show the output file now. Output file has only one record. Output file has only the record which we have given. So you can give any where condition or any other filtering condition you want to give. You can use here. Apart from this query transformation, you can use whatever the transformation provided here as per your need. Okay. So that's it for the bots. Apart from this, there are some other icons present here. So some icons are very simple, like this is you need to open any folder or any project, you can use this. For saving, you use this. In these tools, you have variables, so you can define variables here. Then you can have substitution, parameter configuration, and system configuration. So substitution parameter configuration and system configuration and variable. These are the three things which normally people get confused. So see, system substitution parameter configuration. First, let's see this. What it means is, this is also a kind of parameter, but it is not on the job level. It is on the bots level, repository level. So you can define some variables. Okay, those, if you define the variable in this substitution parameter configuration, those variable will be applicable for all the jobs. Like here we have created a variable, and that global variable at the job level, and it is applicable to this job only. See the scope. The job context is only at the job level. So it is only at job level. But if you define any variable in this substitution parameter configuration, that variable scope will be at bots level. I mean, all the jobs can access this variable. Similarly, so this system configuration is for the bots with different configuration. Let's say I have created a data store and a connection. There's a connection, but inside the data store I can define more than one connections. Let's say I have defined 3 connections. One is for Oracle Database 1, one is for Oracle Database 2, and one is third connection is for Database 3 in the same data store. So I have created one data store with 3 connections. Okay, now in this system configuration, what I can do is I can create 3 configuration. One configuration is for database 1, second configuration is for 2, and third configuration is for database 3, and I can run the job using these 3 different configuration. So whatever the database I want to use, I can use the corresponding configuration from here and then run the job. And how you will select the configuration? Here. If you have any configuration, so I have created some configuration. So configuration 1, configuration 2, like configuration 1, system configuration dev is corresponding to development database, and system configuration product source is for product detail for the source system, or you can say production system if the nomenclature says like this. Whatever, it depends on you what the naming convention you are following. But this is how you select the system configuration. The third thing here is variables, which we are already discussed. Then the important thing here is the import from file and the export. These two functionalities. Like I have created this job. Now what I want is I want to export this job. I mean, I want this code to be saved in some file, and that file I can use later on anytime. So what I can do is I can export this code. Okay, so let me search this job here. So you can search the job here also. Currently I am searching it, but it will not search because the object I have written here is stable. But I need to do this job and then select it. It will give me the job, right? I can open it from here also. So let me close this and open from here. So to export the code, what we can do is we go to this folder corresponding job, click right click, and then you have this export option. So you just export. All the objects present here will be visible. If you don't want to export this file format, you can exclude it, or what you can do is you can include if you want to export everything. Just click here, click on export, and click on export to file, click on ATL, click on export file, and then you give the location and the file name, and then it will be saved to that location. Similarly, what you can do is, if you want to import some file or code into this bots, what you can do is you have this import from file option. So you just click on this import from file option, and you have different folders. You just go to the correct folder where the ATL file is present, and that ATL file you can select and just click open. It will be loaded here. And you can also put into some folder if you want. Apart from that, you have one more this important icon, that is local object library, which is already open here, so you don't need this icon again. But this is the central object library. Central object library icon is here. If you click on this icon, this similar to this local object repository, central object repository will open, and you can migrate your code from this local repository to central repository using this right click and add to central repository. Normally what we do is we use with filtering, right? We need to export everything. I mean, we need to add this job into central repository, but we don't want the connection details to be added.